Welcome back, guys, to Keeping Up with the Nerds minicast issue number 9. My name is Bryan.
I'm Adam.
Yes, Adam. Oh my God. I think this is the first time you've been on a minicast, no?
I've been on 2, I think, of them. I think 2 of them,
Have you?
Yeah, because we did the Loki one.
Oh, that's right,
and
dude.
Then we Jackass.
Oh, yeah, we did the Jackass one, so you were in the previous one. Anyways, why do we have you here? Well, let me tell you guys, because news just came out that Doctor Strange is receiving a PG-13 rating. This came out of nowhere, too, because I think the day before it was announced, they have released like an official teaser trailer again, like a short little mini like reveal of what this movie was going to be like. And then literally the next day they came out and said, oh yeah, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse Madness is going to be rated PG-13. Do we care about it? In all honesty, does it matter to you, Adam? Are you still going to watch it?
Disney's taking my money and they will continue to take my money.
So we're both on the same page. It doesn't matter to us. We're going to be giving them their money. But people on Twitter are not having it. And Twitter, being Twitter, is going and complaining about why this film needed to be rated R for it to be good. So does this matter that it is PG-13 movie?
So you said you agree that it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. I personally think that this film, being rated PG-13 is still going to be a good movie. My examples for that are like shows like The Batman or The Eternals, or even shows like Moon Knight that have, those aspects of a very more mature, more serious tone. They're still pushing that boundary that could make it into a rated R, film or TV show, but it's doing a good enough job to be entertaining and keep that serious tone as a TV-14 PG-13 asset, right?
That bridging of what is teenage adult to full-on adult. I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate and just, I guess, disagree with you, because even though I do agree, and I think the biggest reason I'm going to disagree for just this, I guess, minicast is the fact that there's so many rumors that we have, the X-Men. Obviously, we don't know. Oh, well, now we know. It's Charles Xavier. It's, I can't remember his name.
Professor X?
Professor X.
Or
but,
you're talking about
the actor.
Sir Patrick Stewart.
Yes, there you go. So we know Patrick Stewart's back. He's confirmed it. And they've done so much, like, at least deleted scenes and other films where it's like they've done rated R X-Men content. Because it feels like this is going to be the film that introduces the X-Men not maybe full on blown out, but to give us that confirmation, hey, we're bringing back our favorites. Which means I do think to some extent, Hugh Jackman's going to be involved in this film some sort of way.
Okay.
The last film we saw him in was Logan, a rated R film. There's rumors of Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool being involved. And Deadpool, when they released Deadpool 2, which was Once Upon a Deadpool, which was a Christmas special, Disney attempted, because this is right after the merger, Disney attempted to do it PG-13. And it didn't do well. And that's okay, because in a sense, you're releasing a film. Re-releases never do well. They make a small amount of money, but they do it with the purpose of they want to achieve a milestone. I think a film like this would be good for rated R because of you have Sam Raimi involved, and he's done films like The Grudge.
Okay.
Which is fantastic horror. Scared me up for a long time. I'm sure if I watched it now, still someone sort of be scared. And I feel like putting him on a
brings
PG-13,
back childhood drama or something like that.
Oh yeah. You would have no idea. Yeah.
Okay. So you're you're saying essentially that this, by putting a PG-13 label on it, you're limiting his ability to go full on Sam Raimi, and you're kind of holding back his potential as a director. Okay.
Yes, because and obviously you can disagree with that, because there's the argument, well, Spider-Man 1 and 2, at least Tobey Maguire's. But then it's like, okay, but we've seen him direct that style film before. Do we really want to see that a fourth time? or would we rather have him do something new and allow him to again push those boundaries? But then, you know, it's just like, obviously the answer at the end of the day, the answer is going to be no, because Disney's not going to make a rated R Marvel film.
So
at least MCU film.
Let me propose this. I'm gonna rebuttal your devil's advocate statement here and say, you know, should it matter? Like, let me, as a content creator, right? If someone comes up to you and they say, Adam, you know what? We're putting these limitations on here because we get it. You want to go to your fullest extent and we want to bring out the fullest potential in you, right? But there are certain restrictions and limitations that we do have to put up there for you because it's not going to fit the system that we have right here, right now. Is that going to hinder your ability as a content creator? Or if you want to think of it in Sam Raimi's term, is that going to prevent him from still being a good director? Personally, I don't think so. I understand why this film needs to be PG-13. You want to have that big pool of money still available. Because one of the big things that, I get it, some people are like, oh, but Disney has so much money already and they don't need more. I don't understand why they're still opening it up for like bigger audiences. It should just be more for the super fans because people are losing interest. There's a bunch of different excuses, right? But point being is that every distribution company wants to have as much money available to them as possible. So you want to keep that PG-13 rating available. PG-13 is not a death sentence to certain movies. There's certain movies that are going to be, and you did say Deadpool 2 was, but that's because Deadpool 2 was written in that way to have that R-rated limit. But what's 100%. To say, but what's to say that Doctor Strange wasn't written that sort of way? What if it was written in a way that was kind of still held back? And people are forgetting, when you do have DVD releases of certain things, they have deleted scenes or extended cuts or director's cuts for like further down the line that expand on certain parts of the story. And those extended cuts are not rated. They're not rated by the board. So they could have elements that are a little more serious, right? Logan. You mentioned Logan, right? A rated R movie that was centered around an X-Men, and it was really great. I have it in the back right over here. I don't know if I can.
I got it right here.
I have the movie poster. I don't know if I can take the background thing off, but yeah, right there. Look, bam. If you can see it, hang on. It's still right there. Bam! Look at that. It's right there. So I freaking love that movie, and you know, I do think that people are overreacting when they're looking at this rating, you know?
I 100% agree. I'm just for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to disagree. And the reason being for that is because at the end of the day, I think we're grown. A lot of people, so like when the MCU started, it started when I was 11 and Endgame wrapped up when I was 22. So that was like literally half my life. Half of my life was the MCU. And by the end of it, we finally got these more mature themes. We got Civil War, we got Infinity War, we got Endgame. You know, we had Black Panther, which is the lesser of, not the lesser of films, but the lesser that handled these adult themes.
So we do have to wrap this segment up because I do have to let Miguel in at some point. But I'm going to ask you this. I'm not going to rebuttal, but I'm going to expand on that point that you just made. Okay. So you're saying that you have grown up and you want those more serious, more adult themes for this MCU franchise, right?
Yes.
What about the newer generation that's coming in? We got Avengers when we were in high school, right? And that means that Iron Man was Iron Man released 3 or 4 years prior to that? 2008 or something like that?
So Iron Man is 2008, Avengers is 2012.
2008. So Iron Man was technically the first movie in the MCU. That was 2008. For me, that was like second year or first year of high school. And then for you, it was like first year of high school. So we grew up with this franchise. We've had our moment. Now in our like mid-20s, we're seeing that end of it. We have to start considering the new generation, right? So I mean, I get it. I understand you want those serious tones. Maybe this movie is still going to be for us. It will forever still be for us because we still have movies like film or shows like, you know, Eternals and Moon Knight. But what about that new generation is what I'm saying, you know?
I think there's characters already for that.
Like who?
One being Ant-Man, Spider-Man.
And you really think that the new Ant-Man, the Quantumanium movie is going to have that more kid-friendly tone?
Yeah, 100%. Because it is at the end of the day Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's a comedy actor, and I feel like that's his stamp. Same thing with like the Guardian films. Even though James Gunn has said, hey, this is the last time we're doing Guardians or this character. Well, so he says. At the end of the day, Disney has the final word on what they're going to use. And so obviously we know this. I feel like we knew this film was never going to be rated R. As much as a lot of us had hoped, and even me, I was like, hey, it'd be cool to see a rated R MCU film. But Disney is never going to do that. And I think as movie goers and movie fans, we have to accept that Disney is not going to solely stamp Walt Disney Studios on a rated R film. Why? Because that automatically cripples them in how they're going to get funding for this film.
Yeah, I can see that.
And personally, that's okay with me. That's okay. Now, would I love to see a rated R version of Doctor Strange? Hell yeah, who wouldn't? Because there's so much more you can do. There's so much less limitation. One of the biggest things I feel like Disney doesn't take opportunity is the fact that they get one F-bomb in every single PG-13 film.
Yeah, they do.
You know, so it's like, that would be cool. So who knows? Maybe Disney's gonna push the bound. If Disney, okay, I will. This will be my happy medium. Regardless, I'm gonna be happy with this film and see it. I'm gonna be excited for this film. If Disney gives me one F-bomb in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse Madness, in my opinion, that's a dub because they're already pushing the line.
Okay.
They've pushed. I feel like also.
Give me my F-bomb and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm calling for. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're doing a lot better. They're pushing boundaries that we haven't seen before. In Eternals, had the first sex scene, even though it wasn't really anything. They had the first.
There was thrusting.
Yes, they had the first same-sex couple on screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're pushing these boundaries. They're pushing adult more themes. You watch WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They're all adult themes.
But they're keeping that PG-13 rating still.
Yes. You know, but they're tackling those heavy-hitting, emotions, depression,
Gotcha.
acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, acceptance and really Loki and Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
It's those, we have to, you know, because that's the hard part in, you know, is when you tackle these harder adult themes, and Disney does a really good job at that.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, you know, I'm explaining why I feel it's gonna be okay, because they're gonna explain, and they do so well. We've seen them do it before.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon and the Winter, or Captain America, the Winter Soldier, the film. You know, they've done so well with dealing with adult style films and making them feel, dang, a kid should not be watching this, while still keeping it friendly, and entertaining. So it's not going to be an issue, but I can see why people are upset.
Okay, that I can see that. I can see your points. I'm not going to disagree with you. We're gonna wrap it up on your side over here, just to let Miguel, you know, showcase his side. And we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. Miguel, hey, joining me on this mini cast. How's it going?
It's going great, man. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm doing well. I just finished the conversation with Adam and his thought process on, you know, Doctor Strange being PG-13, but I have to get the other half of our real addiction on here, of course, and get your opinion on this. And, you know, you watched the part where Adam and I were talking. But let's get to the topic at hand, which is Doctor Strange being rated PG-13. It's finally getting that official rating. Adam is in full agreement. Thanks for that, fire truck. Now that the disturbances are over, Miguel, tell me, what do you think about this PG-13 rating?
That was my cat. I'm sorry. Honestly, I don't mind it. I think what we really have to understand here is that this is a superhero film, and no matter what director is trying to push the boundary, no matter what screenwriter is trying to push the boundary on how, you know, chaotic it can be, or scary, or like has, you know, like I looked up the like what guarantees an R rating, right?
Mm-hmm.
To Google says this rating means the film contains adult material such as adult activity, harsh language, intense graphic violence, drug abuse, and nudity. So unless we're gonna see Doctor Strange hit a bong or something, like I don't know, man, because I don't mind it. I know Sam Raimi is like super talented, and he can push horror elements, and we've seen it so far through screen caps, and it's really amazing. I love the up close like intensity that you get from like the eye. Like the little Sam Raimi post where it's like you're in a Sam Raimi film and it's just like eye close-ups, right? And it looks like someone's about to die. Perfect. Especially with Wanda being as unstable as she is. If she pushes boundaries in this movie with herself as a character and with her powers, then I think that deserves to be brought to light. But at the end of the day, too, this is a superhero movie. Like, we cannot expect it to be an R-rated film. Twitter can be mad about that, and they can stay mad about it, but I think they need to be more considerate about what story they're trying to tell, as opposed to seeing more violence, because then there's a thin line being like, okay, was the movie good, or was it just visually pleasing? Things can be like it looked amazing, the shot looks amazing, but it's like, was there a purpose behind it? Did it move these characters forward? Was it even necessary in order for the next scene to roll through, you know, like, and then there's whole, I've heard, and I was mentioning to you prior, I've heard that there is a PG-13 rating cut for Doctor Strange inside the Multiverse Madness, and then there's a rated R version where it's much more graphic, and that's why there was supposedly reasons as to why they went under reshoots, because of how gory maybe the film came off as, or another movie that they're trying to tie in needs some elements of this movie to happen in order for that movie to flourish too, you know?
So I like what you're making sense here, because it's kind of going along the same point that I was telling Adam, is that, you know, a lot of the times you get a theatrical PG-13 cut, and then the DVD releases usually will have something that, you know, extra deleted scenes or extra extended cuts, director's cuts that are unrated, and give you that extra element that gives it that quote unquote rated R rating, right? But I do want to go back to a point where it was like your research of what a rated R film is, and it usually includes drugs. I just couldn't stop picturing the idea of Doctor Strange. You know, it's like the whole movie was just based off a bad trip where he's just like, you know, like just smoking the bong, going like, whoa, that was just the whole multiverse of madness, bro. So
exactly. Like, what if we do like a cut, and like at the very end, and they do like a quick snap, and it's a plot twist, and it's just Wong and him in the room. That's like, yo, we just did DMT. Wasn't that crazy?
Bruh, man.
Wasn't that just insane? Like,
that's such a...
and then it's like, wait, and then Wong's like, wait, Strange, it did happen.
It's just a
like, you just gotta think about it, man. Like, what if it is? Like, I've never done psychedelics, but I'm definitely not doing psychedelics and watching that movie. That is not my first pick. I mean, just seeing him disintegrate into like glass, like I was like, no. It looks amazing though. The movie looks amazing. I'm super excited for it. My final answer: it's okay if it's PG-13 as long as the story is right. I'm along with you. Like, they don't need to push boundaries. I know right now what I'm agreeing with what Adam's saying in terms of what Disney's doing with like territory and like pushing boundaries with like, sorry, cat again.
No, you're good.
With like, you know, including same-sex marriages or even the sex scene that didn't even mean much. You know, you did say there was thrusting, but to me, I was like, this is very vanilla. I want to see more.
Yeah, and I agree with you. But it's gotten to that point where, because, like, you know, I know we do have to wrap up our segment pretty quickly, pretty soon. But, you know, because Adam did mention this whole, like, idea of, like, the serious topics, bringing forth more, you know, down-to-earth subject matters that or could be a little more intense. That doesn't necessarily qualify as, like, a PG-13 rating. It doesn't, or excuse me, a rated R rating. Doesn't mean that it's going to be that stressful, right? But I do think that if you are going to include those elements in a Doctor Strange movie, you know, it doesn't have to go to that limit where it does have to be rated R. And I did tell Adam, you know, when you do have a PG-13 rating, you are opening it up to more audiences, to more people to go watch this movie. Because a rated R film, you're cutting half the audience right there.
Yeah, especially when Disney is such a corporation that's the foundation of it is family, you know, and to just think like, I think it's just in a sense, it's like, of course, like, but the thing about foundations of family and being a kid in Disneyland is also growing up. There's many movies out there that have similar themes. Like, I mean, Peter Pan is one of them. You look at it that way, and he's basically abducting children, but he does it in a fairy tale of like imagination where you can leave and you can come back maybe if you want to, but he wants you to be part of the Lost Boys in this island, you know, and that can be metaphorical in so many ways. So it's just part of the whole growing up. Toy Story had it too. By the time Andy was growing up, you know, like he had to let go of Buzz and Woody in the gang. But when it comes to like the MCU, that's where I think Disney should have also known and read in the fine print instead of just clicking on the terms and agreements that, hey, by the way, like Marvel, even though it can be mostly G-rated or PG-13 rated, it does have some elements that push us. Like off the bat, like with Spider-Man, his uncle dies. And even more, like he faces, you know, he's kind of the reason why Gwen Stacy died too. You know, like death and all that stuff, like that's easy, it's part of life, and I think Disney should just stop being such a parent figure about it.
I like the point you're making, because a lot of the times when Rene, Renee, and I talk on our podcast, we do bring up the fact that comic books do bring up subject matter that goes, you know, a lot. It's true to life subject matter. And I think that Disney is trying to embrace that side with its Marvel storytelling. And we are going to be seeing that, you know, especially with the maturity that the MCU is heading towards, with Eternals, with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. No Way Home brings that subject matter where it's like, you know, your mistakes have consequences and sometimes they're irreversible. You know, that kind of subject matter is not easy for someone who's like maybe 10 or 11 or 12 years old to comprehend. 13, 14 maybe, but as a kid still in like, you know, understanding the complexities of the world, entering, you know, middle school, they're probably not going to get that fully. But it is interesting to see it. We do have to wrap up our segment, Miguel. Is there any last thoughts you want to include?
Just quickly to summarize, I remember you guys were talking about like the prevention of the director's eye and whether or not Sam Raimi, whether there's just like like if there's creative, you know, divide there or differences. I think Sam Raimi knew exactly what he was getting into. I think in terms, and this may not be the thought process, but I think it's a more common sense one, that if you're a director and you're reading the script, I would rather see the script first and understand its elements before I sign on to complete it, you know, because I need to be on the same page as the screenplay writer, and the screenplay writer needs to be on the same page as I am in terms of how you want me to bring your pages to life, you know. And hopefully Sam Raimi had read the script off the bat and was like, yeah, I can totally direct this and I can make it weird and I can make it fun and I can make it experimental as possible and still make it 100% the screenplay rights and also 100% mine.
That's a great point. That's honestly a great point, Miguel.
Adam, Miguel, thank you guys so much for joining me on this mini cast. Where can people find you guys? Because, you know, we're partners now under the Nerds Network. So where can they find you guys?
First off, I can't believe you're already kicking us off, but since you are, you can find us obviously at keepingupwiththenerds.com, where Miguel and I have written a couple articles, and we're going to write some more very, very soon. But you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter. On Instagram, you can find us at Our Real Addiction, and on Twitter, you can find us at Our Real Pod. And Miguel will explain where you can find our episodes.
You can find us on Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts, you know, streaming services or whatever. You can also find us on YouTube at Keeping Up with the Nerds, because we're actually going to be doing some really fun future projects on there, and we're really all excited to see them.
Yes.
Or are you guys to see them?
We talked about how we're going to be watching, or I watched it today as of recording this. You're going to watch it this weekend. Everything Everywhere all at the same time or something like that. It's a weird title. So that's a video that we're going to be working on. With that said, thank you guys for watching Keeping Up with the Nerds minicast issue number 9. On behalf of Adam and Miguel, we thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.